Okay, so in my last video I promised you I would give you my actual, unironic, hottest gaming take that nobody agrees with, but that is still completely right. And here it is. You ready for this? Half-Life, and I mean specifically Half-Life 1, kinda blows. Not that it's unplayable, or that it's so bad I never go back to it, but when you compare it to other first-person shooters, even for its time, the gameplay and the mechanics just aren't that good. Yes, it did provide an actual story which was new for that time, but still, when you look at the movement, it sucks. It feels like you're walking on ice, which becomes a big problem when you do a lot of the platforming in the game. I've never had a game be this heavy on platforming without having good movement mechanics. It's like a lack of self-awareness about what they created. Quake had better movement, and Quake was an older game, so don't give me that, oh, it's just a product of its time thing either. The shooting also feels really unsatisfying. None of the guns really feel like they're either precise or punchy. It's just kind of a lot of spray and pray. And the usual justification for it given is, oh, you're playing as a scientist who's not used to using guns, so it's to simulate him being bad with guns. Okay, so why stop there? Why pick just any physicist to play as? Why not pick Stephen Hawking? Now you can't even use a gun. You can't even walk. You can't even look and move independently because you're controlling your wheelchair with your mouth. Is that a fun game? Is that enough of a narrative justification to have a mechanic that's not fun in it? No, it's not. The whole, I'm gonna make you miss when you actually hit because it's supposed to be, you know, you're supposed to be a character who's not good with this weapon. It was lame when Morrowind did it, and it was lame when Half-Life did it. A lot of the puzzles, people praise the puzzles in this game, but a lot of them are kinda ass. I remember there was one I was stuck on where it was just, the solution I had to look up was just, oh, you know that thing you hit with your crowbar like 5 times and it wasn't breaking, so you moved on? Go hit that like a bunch more times and it breaks. So, like, a lot of the puzzles just suck ass. And then there's the one where you're dropping like the mortars or whatever. That one barely has controls that function. That one was so terrible. And then one of the puzzles obviously was just, oh, there's mines everywhere that kill you, or there's snipers everywhere that kill you. That's not even a puzzle, that's just a beginner's trap. That's just, this is gonna kill you for sure the first time you encounter it, and then after that it's easy enough to deal with, just a little tedious. And I'm not saying Half-Life as an IP is bad. I actually like Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 is a good game. Half-Life 2 is a whole vibe. You know, the guns feel better, the movement feels better, the overall atmosphere is great, but Half-Life 1 was just not it, man. It was a step back from Quake, and I know Quake set a high bar for everyone to clear, but come on. Half-Life, you're only nostalgic for it because it was the first-person shooter with like a real story. You know, not like an incoherent, tacked-on one, but a real story. And okay, I mean, if you played it when it first came out, and you're nostalgic for it for that reason, because at the time, you know, it was the only first-person shooter that actually gave a shit about story, then sure, whatever. Like I said, it's not the worst game ever made, but a lot of people I know tend to say that it's better than games like Doom and Quake, which are actually both a lot more fun to play than fucking Half-Life. And it's not to say that Half-Life doesn't have its fun parts, but toward the end of the game, it becomes an absolute slog. And even the fans can agree on this. Come on. Zen is a bad level. It becomes nothing more than a resource management tedious slog. I think by the end of it, I was just running past everything because I was out of ammo for everything decent and couldn't find any more ammo. And there was no time to really look because everything was bearing down on me. Now, it's really not a skill issue when the game just straight up doesn't give you enough ammo. I know that like survival horror games do that to add tension, but I really don't have a whole lot of respect for survival horror as a genre. It's so into creating the atmosphere that it neglects good gameplay pretty often. And I think when you really listen to a survival horror fan talk, you can get that impression pretty easily, because they'll talk about things like the controls being crappy in earlier Resident Evil games, as if it's something that adds to the feeling of it. Or the inconvenient save points, oh, it adds tension. So the whole limited ammo is okay because, limited, not just limited, but, super scarce ammo is okay because survival horror games do it. That doesn't exactly hold up because survival horror games, at times, don't even really try to be fun. They prioritize atmosphere over gameplay, and that's not really what a shooter is supposed to do. Anyway, this is just something that every time I say it, people act like I'm a Philistine who just doesn't appreciate the high art that is Half-Life. But I played all the way through it, and I'm like, when does this get fun? Like, there's some small moments where it's kinda cool, but, so much of it is just tedium and reloading quick saves because of a platforming segment causing a cheap death. Just crap like that, dude. I would be curious to see if someone who didn't get Half-Life when it was new actually likes it. Because I started with Half-Life 2, and I'm like, oh, well, that's a pretty good game, so I'll try the first Half-Life. And it's not the big-brained revolutionary thing that it was made out to be by just about everyone. It's just not. And yeah, I know this comes across incredibly hostile, because I have this way of communicating where I will give unpopular opinions with the same unapologetic confidence that you would state a known fact. And when I can't think of a gag to kind of hide that behind humor, it just comes off with a very, Gordon Ramsay kind of energy, sort of a very, oh, you rage quit this game, didn't you? You're pissing all over it, you absolutely hate it. And it's not that. That's just my communication style, honestly. The last time I played this game was right after the update came out. I guess you could call it a remaster or whatever. Got on there, sorta plunked around for a while, had fun for maybe 15 minutes, got back off. And it's not... If this game wasn't hyped up to the point that it is, I wouldn't bother making this video. It's just, you hear something is so great over and over again, then you go to play it and it's like, okay, well, I had fun some of the times, but where's the masterpiece here? And yeah, I get that the way I talk sounds super hostile, sounds super mean, but what are the chances Gabe Newell is ever gonna see this video anyway? So I don't really see any reason to sugarcoat the things that I'm saying. I'm just giving my gut reaction. I was told there was a whole masterpiece in this game, and I played it, and it's like, okay, well, it's a functional game, it's sort of okay, it's not jank, but there are games 2 to 4 years older that are better, so why are we hyping this one specifically up so much? Anyway, that is my real unironic hottest gaming take.